Okay. So in Ani Bujo, it's good seeing you all here. We're really fortunate to have Mark Forget from Makatu Crafts here guiding us in a medicine pouch workshop. I just want to take a moment just to acknowledge wherever we are gathered. I believe all of us here are on Turtle Island, but the Algonquin Ottawa campus is on the unceded Algonquin Anishinaabe territory. We're really privileged to have such a diverse group of cultural gathering at the Mamodosawin Center, which is what the Mamodosawin Center means. It's that place of gathering, walking together forward. So in these challenging times, I just want to acknowledge that we are all connected to that land. And wherever you are listening to this, I encourage you to learn about the ancestral lands of the peoples where you are, and to make relationships not only with the peoples there, but also with those lands. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mark, who will be leading us in our craft today and providing all kinds of teachings through this medicine pouch workshop. So we're really happy to have you back, Mark. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome to all of our participants. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Nathan. Mark Forget, Indigenous, Anishinaabe-Kwe, Makwan Dodum, Ottawa Dundruva. Good morning. My name is Mark Forget. I am Anishinaabe in French, or Algonquin in French. I'm Bear Clan, and I live here in Ottawa, but I'm a member of the Wiikwemkoong First Nation band in northeastern Ontario. So what we have in front of you, you have your medicine bag kit. So yours is also branded. You possibly also have the beaded version as well, if I believe you do. I don't have a beaded one because they're all gone. So as we're celebrating the National History Indigenous Month, this is a great time to be sitting here together and learn a little about the culture that surrounds you. And doing a medicine bag is a great way of doing that. Before we start, I just want to touch base on a couple of things that people are probably very aware of, is the word cultural appropriation. That's been a buzzword for a few years, and I just want to let you guys know what you're doing here today is called cultural appreciation. So you're actually appreciating a culture. You're not by any ways appropriating it by making yourself a medicine bag and wearing one. That's the opposite of that. Appropriation would be if you decided to go on Etsy and buy a medicine bag because it looks nice, not knowing where it's made, likely not made here by an Indigenous artisan. That would be considered appropriation because you're supporting somebody who's looking at financially gaining on a culture. So what you're doing here today is cultural appreciation. These kits here, like I said, I'm a member of the Wiikwemkoong First Nation band. My business is a certified Aboriginal business through the Canadian Council of Aboriginal Businesses. The leather that I source is actually all locally sourced. So this particular leather comes out from the Ottawa Valley. It is whitetail deer leather. I make all my own lace as well. The beading on yours in particular is done by a friend of mine who's Anishinaabe-Kwe. She's a Ojibwe. So you can be assured that the kit that you have in front of you is absolutely legit, made 100% Indigenous. And so, yeah, so that's the difference between appropriation and appreciation. So you can proudly wear your medicine bag, and knowing about the artisan or the artist certainly helps with your story. So if somebody ever questions you, you can say, no, this is where I made my medicine bag. I know that it was locally sourced leather. It was made by an Indigenous artisan. So you can feel confident if somebody ever questions you. And if they really give you a hard time, tell them to call me and I'll talk to them. So let's get started. So in your kit, you have your 2 pieces of leather. You have your leather lace. You have a card here with your needle on it, and you have your artificial sinew. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go ahead and unravel your sinew, and your needle has quite the large eye on it, as you can probably see, so it's easy for you to thread that through. So go ahead and do so, leaving just, you don't need to tie a knot, just leave about 6 or 8 inches of a tail, so you don't need to knot that off. So I'm going to actually reuse this bag here. So you'll notice that this one here has been reused a few times, so you'll notice the holes are a little more visible. But your medicine bag, if you pull slightly, you'll notice that there's stitch holes already made. So you don't have to pierce the leather with your needle. So if you look closely, there are already little stitch holes made. Okay, so you'll notice that you have the logo. So there's 2 sides to your leather. So there's the smooth side, which is the leather side, and you flip it over, it's suede. So what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to take the 2 soft leather sides and face them each other, because we're going to flip our bag inside out. Okay. Everybody with me so far? And again, if you have any questions, just in the chat, or you can unmute your mic and just let me know that, you know, if you want me to slow down, that's okay. So you'll notice the 4 holes at the top of your medicine bag. Do not start stitching there. That will be for your lacing. But if you look very closely, you'll notice there's a stitch hole right close to the edge. There's about 1/8 inch from the edge. That's where you're going to start your first stitch. So go ahead. Whoops, sorry about that. I'm just banging my camera. So pull through until you have about 5 or 6 inches of sinew through. And what we're going to do is we're going to double knot that. So that'll be our first knot. So just go ahead once you're ready, and just do a double knot. So there's 1 and 2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tug on the long piece, because your sinew is going to slip, and once it stops slipping, then you know your knot is pretty solid. So if you have scissors nearby, you can go ahead and snip that off, leaving about 1/2 inch. And if you don't, you can always do that later. So don't worry about that. I'll be right just back in a second. I want to grab. That's that. Okay. All right, so everybody's done that. We're going to go through the same hole a second time. So if you can see that, I'm just going to go through the same hole 1 second time. That'll just reinforce that little part there. So now we are going to do what we call a saddle stitch. So very easy stitch, nothing complicated. I'll show you what it's going to look like once you start going. You can see how this is a saddle stitch. So I'm going to go through from the top down because it's easier for me. So I go ahead, find the second hole on the other side, just pull right through, pull through, and you'll just want to pull that it's tight enough, but not too tight where it's going to pucker your leather. So just enough that there's enough tension, but not enough to pucker your leather. Go to the next hole. Again, I go from the top down. Wiggle your needle until you find that hole. Come on. There we go. Just like so. So now you can start seeing my stitching taking place. Again, fairly simple from here in until we get to the other side. It's kind of meditative, it's relaxing.
So Mark, just to let you know, Shalina asked if you can repeat the last step. So I'm just wondering, Shalina, can you clarify what step you were referring to? Maybe you can explain.
Yeah, I'm like still oddly stuck on the first step.
Okay. So what we're going to do, so your first step, you're talking about putting in your lace or your
Yeah, I'm the knot, because then I noticed that you cut it, but I guess I missed that part on how you cut that.
Okay, so I use scissors to cut that. So if you have scissors nearby, you can go ahead and cut that. And if you don't, you can wait till after to cut that off. I just find it gets in the way when it's too long. So you would have gone through the hole twice. First, you tie your double knot, going in through a second time just to reinforce that because it is at the top of the bag. And then we would have gone just through the next hole. I go from the top down. So you would have gone through the hole below it. And you got to sometimes pull the leather because you may not always see the holes that are made there for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
So you're going to continue stitching all the way around till you get to the top of the other side. Once you get to the other side, we're going to knot that off as well, and I'll show you when we get there. So if you get there ahead of time, just pause until everybody else catches up so that you don't miss a step that I'm going to show you. But with that said, I would like to show you the medicine wheel. So I'm sure many of you have seen this particular wheel here. So this is the Anishinaabe medicine wheel. So the teachings may be different from tribe to tribe depending where we are in Canada, but this is the Anishinaabe medicine wheel. So we're going to start with the yellow. East represents tobacco. Let me get my tobacco here. So this is ceremonial tobacco. So it's not cigarette tobacco. There are no chemicals in here whatsoever. So ceremonial tobacco is grown especially for ceremonies to be able to make offerings with. So this is a special tobacco. Special meaning there's no chemicals or nothing like that. So that would be your first one. So this is the east door, which is yellow. So the east door represents the morning, represents the spring, represents the stage of life is baby. The animal is eagle. The plant medicine, as we just talked about, is tobacco, and the place is spirit. So we always start with the east door, okay, and we work around ourselves up to the north. So, and I'll touch on the other directions in a moment. So like yesterday morning, we just celebrated the summer solstice a few days ago. So that's the longest day of the year, the most sunlight. Yesterday morning, I made my way down to City Hall for about 5:15 yesterday morning for the sunrise ceremony that took place for the residential school, the children that were recently found, which is, it's been very hard, I think, on a lot of people, and there's been a lot around canceling Canada Day. I'm not one to be going that route. I'm not saying cancel Canada Day. I'm thinking this year we should take it as a day of reflection. We don't want to separate our country and start fighting. That's not what it's about. Truth and reconciliation is about coming together. And, if we can take time to reflect, on what's taken place, I think that's a better way of approaching this, working together instead of being, opposite. I think it's just going to create more friction for nothing. So I think that we realize what's happening. I think if we work together as a unit, I think we can accomplish more than canceling this, canceling that. That's not going to accomplish anything. So I think this year on Thursday, I think is with COVID and with the restrictions, I think this is a good Canada Day to really reflect on what's taken place, light a candle, lay down some tobacco, you know, and just do some research, learn about residential schools, take the time to read the 94 calls of action. You know, take that time to reflect. And I think doing that, your part doing that, I think everybody's better off for that. So that's just my opinion, and not that of the college. So I hope everything's doing okay with your stitching. And again, we're there to answer questions. So if you notice, I'm not stitching my whole bag because I've already got some that are stitched. Like I said, this is what yours is going to look like once it's fully stitched. We're then going to turn it inside out. This is what your end result's going to look like. This is what your medicine bag is going to look like once we flip it out and have it laced. This is what your end result will be. And of course, you're going to have the lobe on the back. So this one here I made a while ago. I wear it quite often, and your leather is only going to get softer with time the more you touch it. The oils, the natural oils in your hands will keep it protected. Certainly keep it away from, you know, water and stuff like that. It's not waterproof by any means, and I wouldn't recommend using any kind of sprays on it. But just the natural oils in your hands will keep it moisturized and soften it up even nicer. So everybody's coming along nicely. Awesome. Change my view here so I can see who's, I got a few people on video. That's great. I always like seeing that. Jennifer,
Mark, I just wanted to thank you for saying what you said about the reflection piece. I mean, that was our intention in asking you to come even before the Kamloops discovery. We wanted to create a day of reflection before July 1st for people to really be mindful that this is National Indigenous Peoples History Month. So with everything unfolding, I think what you said is really key to that day, and for all of us to kind of you know, consider things. So thank you for sharing that, and as well that balance of the medicine wheel and understanding that is such a valuable tool that I've used personally and professionally in so many ways. And it really is about health and wellness. And on that note, we have Sarah Crawford here as well from Project Lighthouse, who is a really valuable resource for any students at the Algonquin College, and in general, like a resource in our community as well. So Sarah's here, and maybe Sarah will just post some healthy resources as we go into a long weekend for anyone who's needing any assistance and knowledge of where to find help.
Excellent.
Perfect. Thanks, Nathaniel.
I'm glad to see Sarah on the call as well, because again, yes, like Nathaniel said, if you need to speak with somebody, there's always a resource, and you know, what's happening is it's taken a lot on a lot of people. And I know yesterday I took part in a talking circle, and whew, it was heavy, and but you know what, it feels good to let those feelings out, to cry, and to share, because people do, you know, do care, and they appreciate that. Because if they're all like that, you know, you being vulnerable, I think allows other people to say, wow, okay, if Mark, big tough guy, can be vulnerable, I can be too. And I think that helps a lot of people. But Sarah, if you guys need to talk to somebody, clearly I'm sure Sarah would be more than happy to guide you through what to do and get you the proper help.
Yeah, we have some great services. So I will post all the links in the chat for everyone. I coordinate two of our projects. Project Lighthouse is all about consent and healthy dating, and how to navigate healthy relationships. And the Umbrella Project is all about safer use of alcohol and other drugs. So we recognize that, you know, this long weekend is often typically a big party weekend for a lot of folks. I know this year is going to look different for many people, but but I do anticipate that people may still be using substances. So I'm just going to post some tips on how to do things in the safest way possible in the chat, and yeah, keep working on the great things that you're doing.
Thank you, Sarah and Miigwech. Thank you, Mark. Oh.
So this takes us to the next direction, which is red. So red represents the south. It represents the afternoon. Time of day is the afternoon. Season is summer. So this is where we are right now in our medicine wheel. So everything is like the circle of life, and this is what that represents. It represents the stage of life as youth. And I wish I was still there, but I'm not. Animal is coyote. The plant medicine is sage. So this is what sage looks like. So I'll flip around. Here we go. So this is dried white buffalo sage. Sage is used for smudging, to rid of any negative energy. And yesterday we burned a heck of a lot of sage, as you can imagine, in our circle. And I love the smell of it. And this is what is one of our four sacred medicines. So along with the tobacco, sage is the second of the sacred medicines. And places emotion. So if you have some emotions, please feel free to talk to Sarah. Sarah will share some links with you guys. And it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel vulnerable. It's okay. So now, I've fast forwarded my medicine bag to almost up to the other end. So I'm not sure where you guys are at yet with your medicine bags, but there's no rush. Still got plenty of time. Wow, Andrea, that looks great. You're quick, getting the hang of it. Jorge, nice. Oh my God, you're almost done. Love it. Rebecca, nice. Okay, you guys are quick. You're getting the hang of this. I love that. And Jennifer's going to be coming back on in a moment. Victor, I hope you're Vitor, is it? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You guys are all doing well. Awesome. Look at that. Great. Wow, this is fantastic. So again, the leather that I chose for this here is whitetail deer leather. Thank you for sharing that, Sarah. It's whitetail deer leather. It's hunted in the Bancroft area in the Ottawa Valley. So it's about 2.5 hours from Ottawa. Still on Algonquin territory. And a lot of the times the hunters will not want to haul out their whole hunt. So usually they'll, depending if they have ATVs or not, if they're on foot, they'll usually just grab the meat and leave the rest of the carcass there for the other animals. It's not going to waste. It'll still get, used up to feed other wild animals. It'll break back down into nature. But a lot of the times they'll turn in their hides into a depot down in Canandaigua is where I get my leather from. So I get the luxury of heading down there in person to select each and every hide. I hand select each and every piece that I'm going to work with, because I know what I'm going to be using it for, whether it's for medicine bags, my dream catchers, my bookmarks, my journals. So I look at how I'm going to maximize that piece. And in the Indigenous culture, nothing goes to waste. It's the nose to tail. We use everything from nose to tail. The antlers are used for tools. The leather is used for clothing, for cultural items like the medicine bags. We today are using artificial sinew because real sinew is a little harder to come by. So this just makes it simple for us to be able to use this. So yeah, so this is, and again, the beading, which I really enjoy, is all beaded by a friend of mine who's Anishinaabe-Kwe. So it's pretty authentic through and through, which is kind of cool. And I'm proud of that. That's what I try to pride my business on, is use the local as much as possible, and stay true to our culture. Look in our chat here, and I'm sure, oh, perfect. Look at that. Yes, I believe Jennifer, you've been on our dream catcher workshop, I believe, once.
Hi.
Hello. Were you
Hi.
on?
Yes, I loved it.
Good.
Yes, I loved it. And you've kind of created you've created a monster. Like, I can't stop making dream catchers.
Love it. That's awesome. So glad to hear that. They are fun to make. They definitely are fun to make. I think the last time we did dream catchers, those
I
were.
find it so relaxing.
It is, and I'll just show you that. Again, talking about locally sourcing my products. Here's these are full wings here that I get from a friend of mine who hunts up in Golden Lake, and he provides me with the wings so that I can, grab the feathers off here. So again, even with my dream catchers, I make sure that I source locally, that nothing goes to waste. So it gets messy with feathers, as you can imagine. It's like a pillow fight that just happened in my workshop some days. And but I absolutely love it. I just every time I work with a leather or anything from an animal, I always do it with respect, and I always try to smudge beforehand and know that this was a living animal that gave its life for us. So I usually do so with respect. So. So Sarah is posting some great stuff in the chat. So make sure to grab those links for yourselves. And you can do so if you go into the chat. There's the right across where it says file and to everyone, there's 3 little dots. And you can actually click there and you'll be able to save the chat. So you can get all those links saved to your hard drive. So you won't have to write them down. So I know a lot of you guys are probably almost at the end of your to the next step. So let's move forward to the west, which is black, represents evening. Season is autumn, one of my favorite seasons. The stage of life is adult. The animal is bear, which is the Makwa. So that's the bear clan on Bear Clan, which is Makwa. It also represents the cedar. So I don't have any more cedar in my office, but cedar is readily available. Almost every backyard in Ottawa has a cedar tree somewhere. Typically, when you pick your medicines, you would put down tobacco first, because again, tobacco is the first medicine that was given to us by the Creator. And when it comes to a cedar tree, normally you take cedar from the bottom closest to the ground. Don't take it from halfway up or at the top. I know it's probably easier for you if you don't want to get down to the ground, but you just bend down, offer some tobacco, and then you can clip off some of your cedar for your bundle. It also represents the place's physical. So now I'm sure some of you are already at the top of your medicine bag. So let me just catch up myself here and I'll show you how to knock that off. I hope everybody's staying cool in this hot weather we're getting. I guess it's hard to complain when we complain all winter long for heat, and when we get it, we complain for cooler weather. But I'm grateful for this beautiful weather. And so so I've just here, you'll notice that I've just come through my last hole. So this is what your bag should look like once you've got to the top. So just like the other side, we're going to go through the last hole one more time just to reinforce that. Just like so. So you'll notice that we don't have another little bit of a tail to be able to tie off the knot like we did back here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go underneath those 2 stitches. So can you see that closely? So I'm going with my needle underneath those 2 stitches on the last hole. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull through. And before I pull right on tight, I'll just leave a little bit of a loop here, and I'll pass my needle through, and then I'll pull tight. Just like so. I'm going to repeat that process one more time. So underneath the last stitch with my needle, pull through my little loop. Then I'm going to just go through my loop like so, pull tight. There you go. If you have scissors nearby, go ahead and trim that, leave about 1/2 inch. And as well, what I'm going to do for good measure, if you have matches or lighter nearby, I've got a little blowtorch here. I'm just going to burn the ends here. So you'll notice this carefully. Just like so, just so that knot doesn't slip out. Be careful not to burn yourself. So there we go. That is our finished medicine bag. So once you're ready, we're now going to flip that inside out, and be careful not to pull on the beading, because the sewing is, you don't want to undo your beading, because I don't know how to bead, so I can't help you there. So there we go. So once you flip your bag inside out, this is what it should look like. That's awesome. So
Does anyone have any questions for Mark at all? Oh, that looks awesome, Jennifer.
Cool. Beautiful.
Hey, Mark. Can you talk about how to like store the bag respectfully after we make it, if we're not going to wear it and stuff? Is there any rules?
There's no rules that I'm aware of. And if you probably look up on my wall here, you probably see I have my medicine bag. I have, so I just hang them up. I don't just throw them in a drawer. So this one here is my tobacco pouch, where I keep my tobacco for when I'm out and about and I need to make an offering. So this one here in particular, I have the suede side out. The reason for that is because tobacco does not stick to the leather, but it will stick to the suede on the inside. So that's why I have it reversed in this case here. And I have the beading outside. You know, if you ever wanted to make, you don't always have to have the beading on. The beading just adds beauty to it, to a medicine bag. But you can sew a medicine bag without the beading. Like this one has no beading on it, and it's still beautiful. You don't need to. So in this case here, if you had these two pieces of leather, you can flip them inside out to have the leather on the inside. So if you wanted that for a medicine bag, a medicine pouch, you're totally fine, because then you'd have to, of course, the stitching would be on the inside, and then you would just have the leather on the inside, and you just lace it like so. There you go. So that'd be perfect. So that's what I do this one here. And I believe, yes, I do. Good. So, so that's a good question. And so no, I usually just hang mine up. I don't throw them in a drawer. I do wear them. Traditionally, a medicine bag is worn under the clothing and close to the heart, traditionally. But this is 2021. I like to show mine off, as many people do. So a lot of the times I'll wear it over, depending where I'm going. If I'm going to a ceremony or somewhere like that, a talking circle, I'll wear it outside of my shirt, because I'm proud of it and I think it's beautiful. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You may ask as well, what's in my medicine bag? Well, medicine bag is a private, so nobody should be touching your items in your bag, or your bag for that matter. And what goes in your bag, we've talked about the medicines. We've talked about tobacco, which is the east. The south, we've talked about it, is sage. The black, which is west, is cedar, which I don't have, but I do have sweetgrass right here. So this is what sweetgrass looks like. So it's getting down to almost nothing, but usually the strands are probably about close to 2 feet long, 18 to 24 inches long. They're braided. And if you smell it, it's exactly that. It smells a beautiful, sweet smell to it. Sweetgrass is normally used for saging as well. You can use for saging. Where sage is used to rid of any negative energy, sweetgrass is used in smudging to attract positive energy. So you can follow up your sage smudge with sweetgrass in order to attract that beautiful positive energy. And you smell it. It smells so nice, so sweet, and it burns. You can smell the sweetness as well. I know in the summer when I go for walks, there's some fields nearby that I can smell the sweet air, and I know those are beautiful sweetgrass just flowing in the air, and it's just beautiful. Love that. And I'm sure if you've smelled a sweetgrass braid and ever walked out into some fields, you would know that smell right away. You would know, oh my God, that's sweetgrass. You would know right off the bat. And I see Andrea nodding because she knows exactly what I mean. Once you know that smell, it sticks with you, and you know right away when you're walking, you can smell it. It's just beautiful. So this is what my little sacred bundle looks like inside my bag. So within this little sacred bundle, it's probably a little bigger because I have all 4 sacred medicines in that little sacred bundle here. So I have that inside my bag, but also inside my bag is a picture of my mom. So my mom passed away probably about 24 years ago. So if I haven't her in my bag, I keep her close to me. She's been, she's always been a huge guide in my life when she was with me. She still is today because a lot of the times I believe that, when I don't have an answer for what's happening with the good things, it's because I know my ancestors are guiding me in what I should be doing and stuff like that. So I keep her close to my heart. And so I got a picture of her. If you want to keep, if it's little precious stones that mean a lot to you, absolutely fine. That's your sacred bundle. It's what makes you feel good and you feel protection from. You should carry that in your bag. Absolutely. So now let's get on to, so I believe your lace is already cut into a little point. A little point here just helps to feed it through the bag. So I'm just gonna flip this one. Where did I put it? There it is. Okay, so there's the one I just sewed. So I'll flip it back the other way and we're gonna lace it. So there's this particular way that I lace mine. It's because it lays flat up against your chest. So you'll notice the 4 holes across the back. The back for you guys is where the AC is. The beading is going to be the front. So you want the back facing you. And I start with one of the 2 middle holes. So depending if you're left or right-handed, I'm left-handed, so I'm going to go start on the left side. I'm going to pull through and only pull through on one side of the bag, not both sides. So pull through about halfway through. And then once you've done that, you'll want to go back on the inside, going towards the outside of the bag. So this is what it's going to look like once you've done those 2. Okay, so I've gone through one of the 2 middle holes. Then I've come back through towards the outside of the bag. From there, I'm then going to flip the bag onto its back and go into the next hole, going into the bag. There we go, just like so. And I'm going to continue this until I've gone all the way around. And again, like I said, you don't want to go across through both holes right across. Like so. Oops. And again, if you need to, if you have scissors, sharp scissors, just cut the point of your lace into kind of a 45-degree angle, and that'll help you kind of get it through. The reason why the holes are so small is because I don't want leather stretches, so I don't want them too big because they will stretch. Like so, and I'm coming back through my final hole at the back. And so therefore, this is what it should look like once I'm done. You'll see that I'm coming out from the 2 middle holes here. So there's the front. Looks good. So now it's personal preference how you want to tie this up. I'll show you how to tie it off. All I do is I grab both pieces of laces and I just loop them into a knot, into a simple knot. Just like so. So before you do that, I like mine hanging right between, like right in the middle of my chest here. So I don't like it too low, don't like it too high, but I just like it right about here. So you may want to just kind of, you know, have an idea, just put it around your neck, figure out where you think you want to tie off that knot at the back, make sure it fits over your head, take it off, and then just tie your knot right there, and that should be the right length. And what you want to do, go ahead afterwards and just trim that off, leaving about an inch or so. And that should be perfect. And then your medicine bag should look somewhat like this. If all went good, all went well, if my instructions were good.
That's awesome, Mark. Thank you so much. How are folks coming along? Does anyone need any extra explanation of any of the parts?
Is there any chance you can show the front part of your medicine bag?
Yep, but this one here, so this is what the front looks like. Okay, so you have your 4 holes, 1, 2, 3, 4 at the front. You should have your beading right about here.
Okay, all right.
Okay, and if we turn it around, you'll notice my 4 holes. So I've gone in these 2 holes and out from the 2 middle holes.
Okay.
That way here, it'll sit flat up against your chest instead of having it on an angle like this. Because if you start having your lace coming out both of these ends here, then it's going to sit like this on your chest, right? You don't want that either.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And again, you can always pull out your lace and start over. So that's not gonna hurt the bag.
I also wanted to ask you, a lot of people, when they see that kind of little bags, usually the first thing that comes to their mind is like with money or something that probably small that they can fit in there. So I wanted to ask you what kind of things you shouldn't carry in that medicine bag.
Well, I'm not going to say what you should or should not carry. I'm sure people, now that certain things are legal in Canada and Ottawa, I'm sure people will carry different things. I'm not there to judge. Traditionally, a medicine bag is to carry your medicines, and those are your sacred medicines. I mean, that's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not going to say what you can or cannot do. I'm not the medicine bag police. But you know, again, it's traditionally it's your sacred medicines. If you should feel good about carrying that, and if that's tradition, you know, it's if you have good intentions with your leather bag, with your medicine bag, good things will come to you. I believe in that. It's karma, right? So, like I said, I use mine. I have my mother's picture in there, and I believe I'm guided by, you know, good intentions as well, by having good intentions with my medicine bag, smudging it, you know, and taking good care of it, and it brings me good feelings, and it brings me good, I think, good health for the most part. So that's, yeah, I can't really say what should and should not be in the bag. So This brings us to our last direction, which is the white on the medicine bag. That is north. Represents north. It represents the night. The winter stage of life is elder. The animal is deer, which we are, as you know, working with that with our leather. Plant medicine is sweetgrass, and the place is mind. So this is the circle of life. And you'll notice that in the Indigenous culture and that there's nothing really square with what they've done. You know, they have a sharing circle, not a sharing square. Teepees around. The reason for that is because they believe that bad energy gathers in corners. So if they don't have corners, bad energy can't gather. They also believe that everybody's an equal in the Indigenous culture. So when they gather, it's always a circle. There's nobody at the head of the table. Nobody's better than anybody else. Everybody's an equal. And that's why you see a lot of circles when it comes to Indigenous, cultures, a lot of circles, the circle of life, so if we can all live by that, I think we'd all be good, because we're all equal people. We all bleed the same color. Nobody's better than anybody else. I don't care who you are. I think we're all here for a purpose. When I'm very grateful to the person who delivers my pizza, because that means I'm gonna have food. I'm gonna have a good night. And I tip well, because you know what? If it wouldn't be for them, I have to go out and get it. That's an inconvenience. But I think everybody's important. Everybody has a big part to play, and you should always, believe in that. And that, everything you do, it doesn't matter how big or small, is very important to everybody. So hopefully everybody enjoyed their day. And if there's any questions, please let me know.
That's a great perspective you shared with us, Mark. Thank you so much. It really comes down to those details and how we treat one another. We're all related, right? So Chimigwech for offering such a beautiful workshop, and for really helping us to connect to our local area here with all this beautifully sourced material that you worked so hard to make everything authentically Anishinaabe. And so before we leave, did anyone have any questions or comments before we part ways today?
And again, just don't stop learning about our culture, and it's part of educating yourself. And just, if you have questions, ask them. Google's there. There's a lot of great information on there. And if you don't know, just reach out to Nathaniel. That's what they're there for as well at the center, to be able to share those teachings, because I think part of reconciliation is about learning.
Yeah, lifelong learning, eh? So thank you for reinforcing that, Mark. And it's always awesome to have you contributing. We're really looking forward to being back on site, and we look forward to having you there as a facilitator there to actually work hands-on. I remember I worked for many years with the seniors, and like some of those gokums, those grandmothers, they like can beat up a storm so fast, and you ask to be shown what to do, and it's just it always blows my mind. So it'd be really good to have you to and even to bring Amanda Fox too. I know did the beadwork, and to do an on-session class when we're back on site, hopefully in the winter time. So we'll look at doing some kind of workshop then.
Yeah, hopefully. I think, things are coming along. So
yeah. So anyways, thank you so much for continuing to do the work that you do, and all of you. Thank you for the contributions that you all make in our community. I guess we're all in community together. So Chimigwech, and if anyone has any questions about the Mammoth Center, I'm gonna stop the recording, and we can I'll stay on the line for a few minutes if anyone has any questions. But feel free to sign off if you're feeling complete. Chimigwech.